What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back. It's me, Hebot. I am still around. I'm still alive. Thank God. Bless the Lord. Happy Sunday to everybody. I hope everyone's blessed. Your boy's just been very busy, and I've been going through a lot of sickness and trying to get better. Hopefully, I look it, right? Because sometimes you don't feel it even though you may look it, right? So, guys, I wanted to talk real quick, nothing big, but something that continues to bother me, and that's the fact that Sega keeps being so anti-consumer. They don't learn. They keep doing what they do, and then they think it's okay, and they really think like either Sega fans are stupid or they don't get it, or we're dumb or something. I don't know what it is, but I really hate the way they do certain things, because you see how they are real quick to run to make deals, right? Microsoft to have games on Game Pass, right? Because obviously when they have games on Game Pass, they're getting paid for those games to be there up front, right? Eating pistachios, excuse me. And I get it, it's safe. You want to secure the bag. And so far, so good. The Yakuza games being on Game Pass made the series have more success than they did even through the years. This was said by them, Sega themselves and the creator, than it was ever, even when it was only exclusive on PlayStation for all those years, right? Which is great news, right? But at the same time, I'm not really a big fan, for example, of the Yakuza series, right? I get why people like it. The whole aspect of being a hand for hire that works now with the mafia, and all the drama and tension that they create, that's very realistic to the world of the, mafia in the lore, I guess. But one of the things I don't like about it is basically the fact that it has a lot of the fighting style mechanics, because it's like a beat 'em up in many ways. But the fighting mechanics, they're just too arcadey, right? They don't really give you a lot of control over what you do with the characters when you're fighting. It's basically you press A, then it prompts you, and then you do like AY, and it does like a super move, then it'll do another combo, and mostly all the combos are done either automatically or through a button prompt. And I'm the type of person that I like full control over my movesets, especially when you play things like the Double Dragon and obviously Streets of Rage and things like, Ninja Gaiden, for example, right? And again, this is not what the video is about, but it's to give you some context on why I don't like the Yakuza series, even though I'm a big beat-em-up fan. Plus, I don't like that it has way too much cutscenes, just way too much, And then, usually, it's always in the same map, in the same areas. Plus, there's a lot of kooky stuff in there that I kind of like. I don't like it, because they're kind of weird. And I don't like things like that, like when you do karaoke and one of the guys, you could wear like a little diaper and shit. And it's got weirdo stuff in there that I don't appreciate, to be quite honest with you. So, but again, I don't hate those who like it. I understand you like it, it's fine, it's your taste, no problem. But my biggest gripe with Sega is Sega acts like they don't know that hardcore Sega fans that grew up with them mainly in the arcades, right? And also at home, obviously, with their consoles and machines. They act like they don't know how important or how significant or even how you know, nostalgia, like big nostalgia, it is for Sega fans with a lot of their retro stuff and arcade stuff in particular. Because a lot of the stuff that Sega brought out in the arcade never made it home or to a home console unless you emulated and stuff like that. And in many cases, the emulations were not easy to translate over for a lot of their, you know, motherboard, like the System 16 and, you know, Lundenberg and and some of their arcade motherboards. It was just hard to emulate, right? But I know, and I kind of saw when my son pointed something out to me, that they're lying and kind of hypocritical. Because if you look back a couple months ago, before the new Like a Dragon Gaiden was announced that it was coming out and it was going to go on Game Pass, they did a whole stream just to let you know that they were adding some new arcade stuff that's never been released before. What are those new arcade games and stuff? Well, they added Daytona USA Part 2, which has never been released. Fighting Vipers Part 2, which was never really released. They did a version of it for Dreamcast, I believe, in Japan, but never a US or European states or stateside release. They added Sonic Fighters, and supposedly they added Spike Out, but it's hidden within the map. You got to find the area that has it, which also was never really released in arcade form, even though they did have a version of it for the OG. I just don't think it was like the arcade perfect version. But I could be wrong. Please, don't quote me. I could be wrong. The point of the matter is that Sega knows they have all these amazing arcade games that never been released, that people still yearn for, that people would like to still have or own, and would love to play it and have it in their library, right? And instead of bringing out an arcade compilation, for example, right? Instead of doing that, which is going to make them money, right? They make you forcefully have to buy these Yakuza games from the series of the Yakuza. Which, if I don't like the series, I shouldn't have to be forced to buy the game, right? In any way, shape, or fashion. Even if I can get it later on for $10. I don't care what the case may be. The point is, I don't want to be forced to have to buy a game I don't like just so that I can have something that I do like that's tied to the game, right? Because back in the day, when they would do things like that, for example, like when they did the Ninja Turtle games for OG and PlayStation, they would do brand new 3D Turtle games that were actually cool looking, even if they were in 2D, even during the Dreamcast. I mean, during the 360 era. So that you would feel and want to actually buy these new games. They were beat 'em ups and hack and slash in their respective rights. So what they would do is they would add, let's say that, like they added one time, the Ninja Turtles in Time arcade game that had never been released before, and if you had the game and you beat it, or I forgot what you would do something, and it would allow you to play the arcade game. So it didn't feel as anti-consumer, right? Because you were getting a game you liked. But when there's a series that you really don't like, or that really doesn't have a connection directly, like the Ninja Turtle game was connected to a Ninja Turtle arcade game. Yakuza's not connected to something like Daytona, or Spike Out, or even Fighting Vipers 2, right? So I don't have like the real, it doesn't give me the real urgency to go out and buy it, right? But now I feel like I have to, because if I don't, then I'm gonna miss out on having these games natively, at least on a disc, and have ownership instead of playing them through, again, via emulation. And I really think that Sega needs to stop doing this, and we need to call them out on it as Sega fans or Sega gamers from, the beginning of time, when they were more prominent at home with the Sega Master System, obviously in the arcades, and all through the years. Because they have a plethora of arcade games that still can come out that never did. For, Planet Harrier being an example. Virtual Cop 3 being another example. Maze of Kings being another example, right? Or things like Let's Go Jungle, or Let's Go Jungle 2, or the newer Aliens Extinction type games, or Jurassic Park games. Not the ones by Raw Thrill, but from Sega themselves. Heck, they had a NASCAR Sega game that was really awesome, that never really came out. And they had a Mario Kart game that Sega made that never came out, right? Which in that case I understand, because it's a Nintendo IP. They're not going to probably bring it out, or let them bring it out for any console other than the Switch. But you know what I'm trying to say. You get the point. You get the gist of it, right? So anyway, I'm really angry that they keep doing this anti-consumer practices, because they really should consider bringing out arcade compilations. You know what I mean? We haven't ever got things like a Riot City, which was one of their first beat-em-ups. Very simplistic, not much fun, but the point is, it's part of the history, right? It's part of things that we love, like Global, Solar Global 13. I forgot the name of the game with the satellite. I think SPD, I call STD, whatever. I forgot the name of it. Or Cortec, for example. A lot of wonderful titles. I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot of you guys may not agree with me, and I understand and I get it. But for me, being a purist of Sega fan, that I loved all their arcade stuff, and I had every system from Master System to the Sega S1000, all the way to the Dreamcast. The Saturn was my favorite console of all time. Probably one of the most underrated consoles of all time. With some of the best game libraries in history that people didn't even play, like Estelle, Three Dirty Doors, Mr. Bones, AMOC, a lot of stuff, right? I feel that they should definitely start making arcade compilations. Volume 1, 2, whatever. Add 10 games in there, sell it for $30, even $40, and people will be happy and they'll go out and purchase it. But instead, you'll see them make like a compilation of a Genesis game, or Genesis games that we played over and over, and we've had in so many different generations and so on. We had a Genesis collection on Dreamcast, on Saturn, let's say, for example, on 360, on PlayStation 2, on PlayStation 4, on Xbox One. You get what I mean. We've had multiple times, same thing, over and over and over again. So we really shouldn't have to always rely on getting the same games over and over again. We should be getting new ones and new collections. I mean, they did only one Dreamcast collection, I believe, on the 360, and it came with like 3 games, which was Crazy Taxi, I believe it was the fishing game, and something else. I forgot. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, guys. But anyway, I don't want to keep too long-winded. And I really just think that they're being anti-consumer. And they know what they're doing, because if they did a stream just to let you know, hey, we're putting in Daytona 2, we're putting in Fighting Vipers 2 and Spike Out, that tells you that they know the value of their arcade stuff and games. Which lets me know that they're just being a bunch of hypocrites. Right? But at the same time, they're also being stupid, because they're leaving money to throw away that they can get. And it's easy money. Because if they have the codecs of all these games in the arcade, which they do because they're based off their motherboards, their arcade motherboards, it's not like a codex that was created for a home console game like Panzer Dragon, right? The Saga, which was the RPG, and they lost the whole codex and they have to rebuild it from scratch. It's not like that. So they have the arcade stuff. Then just translate it over and put it in a disc, print it out, bring it out. And it'll be cheap because all those games take very, very little space because they're not big files. Most of those games are pretty quick and to the point. Like an Outrun arcade based off the Outrun last one that came out. Or even Outrunners or Turbo Outrun. Do an Outrun collection, for Christ's sake. You can put every single Outrun in the arcade, which was Outrun, the first one, the Outrunners, right? Turbo Outrun, and then the arcade ones that came out. It would be like 5 of them. People will buy it. Afterburner Climax, which is still tied to, the 360. And that was an arcade game. Bring that out with Afterburner 1 and 2 from back in the day, or even Afterburner G-Lock that they did. You get what I'm saying? Or even bring out Enduro Racer, for Christ's sakes. Enduro Racers never came out. And yes, those games by today's standards are very limited and cheesy, but they are nostalgic, and we love them because the biggest thing is that we never got them in the home console. Not the 100% arcade perfect version of maybe 85% of Sega games. We only got like maybe 15% of their arcade games in the home console. Perfect, arcade perfect translations. Like the Virtual Fighter 3 and 2 and 4 and, like the Virtual Cop 1 and 2. Sega Rally. You guys get the idea. Sega Rally 2, Crazy Taxi 1 and 2 and 3 and House of the Dead 3, House of the Dead 4. Shit, House of the Dead 4 is still tied to PS4. You could only have it digitally to PS4. And they made the new one, I think it's the Scarlet Nexus, is it? Or the Witching Hunt? It's part 5. It's one of the new ones. It's beautiful. Very fun to play. If you go to any Dave & Buster's, they usually have it. You can check it out. And shit, that never came out. Make the fucking arcade collection with House of the Dead 1 arcade. Not the remaster, but the first one, the 1. 2 again. That was already been released several times, and 3. But add them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then add 4 and 5 in there. And even though the other ones have been released before, people will buy it because it has the other 2 that never been released. Or actually 3, because the real arcade perfect version of part 1 has never been released. Yes, we got this beautiful new version in the remaster, but it's still not the arcade perfect version of part 1. And again, this might sound stupid to a lot of you guys because it's old games. We got a lot of great new stuff now that's way more advanced. I get it. But if you're a real arcade purist of Sega and fan, you know what I'm talking about. There's so many games they had that we never got home in a home version. Don't lock it down to another series or another game that you bring out now, because it almost comes off as you don't really have faith in the Yakuza series by itself. So you're trying to make it where you got an incentive. Oh, well, let's go buy it. But the reality is, somebody like me is, I'm going to buy Yakuza. I'm probably going to play enough that I can earn enough tokens to play in the arcade and then go play the arcade games, and that's all I'm going to do. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to do nothing else but just play the arcade stuff. And that's the case, that's why I say, no, don't make me have to buy something I don't want to buy. Because again, even if I have to buy the game, even if I buy the game for $10 down the road later on, I'm still buying something I don't really want. You get what I'm trying to say? I don't care if it's $5. I don't want to buy that game because I don't like the series. And again, for $5, that's crazy. It's a win-win because you're not only getting a modern game, but you're getting the arcade stuff. But you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to give you an example, of what I mean. It could be a big deal. Maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm crying about something that shouldn't be even be cried about. But that's just how I feel. I think it would be nicer if they would make arcade compilations. It's that simple. So guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing me out. Let me know what you guys think about how I feel with the Sega situation. You know, should they make arcade compilations of games they never released? Instead of putting in games like Yakuza that maybe you may not want to play, and tying it to those games where you have to feel forced and obligated to buy something you don't want just so that you can gain or earn something else that you do want. Let me know how y'all feel. Tell me if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, tell me why you don't agree with me. Because it's good for good conversation, especially gaming conversation. So, I'm glad to have taken the time to talk to you guys. I'm going to sign off. It's your boy Hebot. I'll see you soon, real soon. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Share it with someone you think might like it. And as always, you know where you guys can find me at any of the social media platforms. The information is down in the description below. And for those that continue to support me all this time, thank you, because without you, my channel wouldn't be still here. And I would not have been able to sustain it. Even though I don't get a lot of views, but it's still, the ones I do, I know it's people that care for what I do. So, love you guys. See you soon. This is your boy Hebot signing off. Peace. Have a blessed day. Bye.